Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the ongoing drama between two neighbors. The petitioner is asking the court to renew a protection order due to continued harassment. Meanwhile, his neighbor insists he's just exercising his right to free speech and hasn't done anything wrong. Will the court extend the order, or will the rabble-rouser win this one with his First Amendment defense? Let's watch how this courtroom drama unfolds as the judge decides whether another year of restrictions is on the horizon.
What's that? No, it will not. Thank you. So, Mr. Blacksmith, looks like an order was entered a while ago,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you're asking to renew the order.
Yes, sir.
And this is a neighbor of yours, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. He's shaking his head no.
He lives
So-
approximately 500 and some odd feet from my house, Your Honor. So
Quarter mile, Your Honor.
Okay, so hang on, I heard, as I said to other people, if two people are talking to me, I'm not gonna be able to understand either one. So,
Sorry.
Mr. Vernon, I promise I'll give you a chance to respond, but I'm gonna swear in I asked those questions before I swore him in, and I'm gonna swear him in now, and then I'm gonna ask him why he thinks the order should be renewed. Then I'll give you a chance to tell me why you think
Thank you.
not.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Blacksmith, can you raise your right hand, please?
yes, sir.
You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Go ahead. Why should this order be reissued?
Okay, let me get to my paperwork here. I'm waiting for the page to load on here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. My apologies, Your Honor. I'm trying to get my computer figured out here. The seriousness of Michael Vernum's aggressive behavior and threats of violence prior to the issuance of this protection order, his continued harassment and unchanged hostility towards me merit a renewal of the court's finding that he is a credible threat and should be ordered to stay away from me and my residence indefinitely. I want the renewed order to stay in place permanently. Let's see here. Michael Vernum, the respondent, has continued to harass me by displaying signs on his house and property containing threatening statements designed to intimidate me and malicious and defamatory statements about myself and my wife, Exhibit 1. And in Exhibit 1, I have some of the photographs that have been taken of his home and the signs. The respondent has also slandered me to my neighbors, and in Exhibit 2, I have a statement from one of my neighbors who had actually spoken directly with Mr. Vernum. I believe that the respondent displays these signs because he is, 1, fixated on me, 2, hopes to provoke me into some kind of altercation, 3, seeks to punish me for obtaining a protection order, and 4, lacks self-control. The respondent's behavior demonstrates an unchanged attitude towards me that is concerning, given his history of unprovoked physical attacks and threats of gun violence. I have not driven by the respondent's house for an entire year, going well out of my way to avoid any conflict. Yet he still bears a grudge, which shows the respondent is incapable of change on his own and needs the guardrails of the court in order to keep him from engaging in foolish and aggressive behavior that could end tragically for everyone. Past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. With the background information, as a reminder, the respondent engaged in 2 unprovoked acts of first aggression against me on July 21st, 2023, while I was driving my 3-wheeled motorcycle on the street public right-of-way near his house, including forcible restraint, assault, threats of violence, and gun violence, hate speech, and an attempt to disarm me. The respondent's rationale for the attack stemmed from his irrational belief that I was speeding past his house, despite his lack of formal training and ability to measure my speed, and decision to take the law into his own hands. On September 22nd, 2023, the respondent engaged in 2 more instances of unprovoked aggression against me using his vehicle. The first time he drove by and verbally harassed me and my visiting friends while I was in my front yard. Later that day, he repeated his behavior and attempted to assault me with his vehicle. For my part, I called law enforcement both times. Responding deputy on 7/21/2023 told the respondent it was not his job to enforce the speed limit. I had the option to press charges, but allowed the respondent to apologize instead. However, I was forced to obtain a protection order after the other two incidents on 9/22/2024 made it clear that the respondent was dangerous, mentally unstable, and would continue his harassing behavior. The fact that he came to my house was a clear escalation. The respondent admitted to the 4 incidents in court on November 6, 2023, although he made excuses for his behavior. The judge concluded that the respondent's claim I was speeding was not credible given the short distance between intersections and his lack of training, and told the respondent his actions were foolish. And in fact, the judge had called Mr. Vernum directly, said that he was foolish and that his actions were foolish. Let's see here. The judge concluded the respondent's claim I was speeding was not credible. Okay, I said that. His sign harassment campaign started in earnest about a month later and has continued until present. Throughout this process, I have learned that the respondent has a history of 1, threatening and bullying people in the neighborhood, see written statements submitted with original petition, and 2, harassment, May 5th, 2005, Tumwater Municipal Court, offense code 9.16.120, case number, and then big old long case number after it, which you have there probably with you. And I'd like to read the impact of harassment on the petitioner. Even though I have every right to walk or drive down the public road in front of the respondent's house and do so unmolested, I haven't walked or ridden my motorcycle in my neighborhood for a year because I don't feel safe. And in fact, I've not ridden my motorcycle since the last incident that had occurred. Let's see here. I haven't because I don't feel safe. In the interest of avoiding conflict, I have also consistently bypassed the respondent's house when driving and have taken a less convenient alternate route for the past year. Imagine having to give up your enjoyable activities and walk on eggshells in your own neighborhood because your neighbor is harassing you. To feel safer in my own home, I just purchased an expensive $4,500 security gate for my driveway. Yet the signs remain up and the respondent eagerly spreads lies about me in my neighborhood. My quality of life has been diminished by this continued harassment. In addition to this very real physical danger posed by the respondent's hostility towards me, which disrupts my peace and makes me feel unsafe in my own home and neighborhood, the situation has caused me to suffer from anxiety, insomnia, and nightmares. These conditions have been greatly aggravated by the prospect of the court not renewing this protection order because I perceive the respondent is still a threat and believe that he will resume his unlawful behavior of trying to assault me if a renewal is not granted. And then I have my exhibit list. The first one, the first exhibit that I have, the first 5 photos were taken on 12/8/2023, 1/26/2024, and 1/28/2024, respectively, and provided to me by concerned neighbors. The last 2 photos were taken by my wife on 10/2/2024 and 10/4/2024. Below, I've summarized what the signs mean in the context of the respondent's past comments and provided other details that might be helpful to the court. First one, we have a coward from Desert Storm on the hood on Gregory.
You don't need to repeat those. I could see the picture.
Thank you.
And those are the ones that were up in October?
They were up in October, and they'd actually been up for quite a while. He did put up other signs as well, but my neighbors didn't stop and take pictures of all of them. In fact, at one point, I had told people, don't put yourself in any danger by taking pictures of the Mr. Vernum's home. Don't engage with them. I want him to be left alone. Yeah, and some of the signs, I'm aware of some of what they said, some of the signs that he had up that I don't have pictures of. At one point, he had a sign up that had said, where's Benedict Arnold, alluding to why I've not, been in his neck of the neighborhood. Well, I've been respecting his space and leaving him alone, and I don't want to anger him by driving in front of his house.
Let me hear from, again, I reviewed, you repeated a lot what was filed. Let me hear. I'm going to swear in Mr. Vernum, and then I'm going to hear from him, and then I'll make a decision as to whether or not the order will be extended for a year. So could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And you can stay on keep your camera activated there, Mr. Blacksmith. You can put your hand down. And so Yeah, so he's asking to extend the order for a year. What's your position on that?
Well, everything he just said was a lie. I haven't seen this guy. Well, this is the first time I've seen him since a year ago, November 6th in court on video.
Right.
Like I told Judge Buckley back in 6 when I was asked about why I put signs up like this. It's called the First Amendment.
No, I know.
And Judge Buckley said he wasn't going there. I had neighbors that lied about my dog and they had it murdered. So I made signs calling him all kinds of names.
Right.
This guy says I threatened him with a gun, Your Honor. I didn't have a gun. He had the gun on him.
Okay, so you don't need to raise your voice at me. I'm right
I'm
here.
sorry. But
Okay.
Judge Hoopman or whoever it was a year ago would not read what my two neighbors saw him doing. When Sybil said that she was scared he was going to shoot me with his gun. I backed off like this. I can't raise my right arm because my right shoulder's gone. My left hand's broke. I can't make a fist. This is the best I can make a fist.
Okay.
And my signs are all, none of them have his name on them. None of them have his address on them. I'm doing my First Amendment.
Right.
Now, the thing that started this is when Israel was invaded October 7th of last year. I have a good friend that was a judge here 20 years ago, 18 years ago, who was Jewish. I have a brother that I call my big brother who's dead now. He was Green Beret and he was Jewish. This Israel sign was put up. And I put my dead brother's flag down that said, kill them all, let God sort them out, referring to Israel.
Okay, so I'm not.
Well, he
Okay,
came after
okay,
me for this
just-
Israel
just-
sign and to kill them all, let God sort them
Okay,
out.
just a minute, just. You said you haven't seen him for a year.
I've never seen him.
Okay, then I guess what's the issue with extending the order? I mean, wouldn't you guys want to stay apart from each other? Wouldn't that be a good thing?
I don't want an order on me. I'm due for 2 operations. They just found out a week ago, the day I got this thing served to me.
Right.
I have a thing in my aorta, one of those aneurysm things.
Go
I
on.
have to have my nose broke here next month because it got broke 12 years ago when I passed out from dehydration and broke it. I can't breathe out of it. Plus, I want my gun rights back. You guys took 2 guns. One was my son's, one was my daughter's. I didn't know these 2 guns were in my house until 2 years ago when we removed my gun safe and they were making noise in them. My guns have been out of my house since 1990. This is a lot of stress on me for something I didn't do. I wish the court would read what my neighbors said that they saw that day. On June 22nd of 2023 at 10:07 in the morning. I went down to his house September 21st, but I didn't know that was his house because some kid stopped in the car and it turned out being his son and he was throwing garbage in my driveway. Now, Lieutenant Tarver, who used to be a sheriff at this place, and I think he's dead now, was one of my neighbors. And he always told us the way to handle the speeders that we have is get a license number and an address and try to talk to them. This guy was doing 50, 60 miles an hour in a residential neighborhood. And all I wanted him to do was slow down. We've had 3 kids hit in front of my house in 45 years. And it's not pretty watching a kid bounce off a bumper and hit the asphalt. I did not threaten this man with a 44 Magnum. I said, you made my day because 22 years ago, 2 GIs pulled a gun on me down in the neighborhood because they were speeding and throwing beer cans all over the road. And they paid for it, but I never threatened them.
Did you have something you want me to read?
Yes, sir, I do.
Could you hand it forward, please?
May I come up?
Yes.
There's 2 pages from 2 different of my neighbors.
All right. Give me just a moment.
Yes, sir.
I've reviewed this. Did you want this to go into the court file?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can.
Your Honor, I have two
Okay.
kids.
So hang on just a second, just a second, okay? This is a pretty simple thing here we're asking.
Yeah, I
right?
understand that.
And whether this order that's been in place for a year is going to continue for another year and all of that. That's the only thing I'm here for right now. And so I've reviewed that, I've listened to you speak. I've listened to Mr. Blacksmith, and I'm sorry to hear about your health issues. Sounds like that's a
My
serious
daughter
thing.
was murdered. My son killed himself. Okay, that's why I have health issues.
Okay,
I don't even
Okay.
go to my children's cross that was put up in the neighborhood because of the threat of him calling. He called the cops on me on January 20th for riding my bike at nighttime in the rain, which I don't ride. My hand's broke. I can't ride my bike. I haven't rode it since 15. He keeps calling the cops on me. I got a neighbor that does it. He doesn't like my signs. He says it depreciates his house. There's Muslims down the road. Those garage
okay,
doors.
so I
know it.
That doesn't matter, okay? It just doesn't matter. I mean, those signs, and you're right, you have a First Amendment right to do that.
I'm not bothering him. I don't talk to him. I haven't seen him. I don't call him. I don't know his number. I just want my freedom back.
So Mr. Blacksmith, he says you've called the police on him several times. Is that accurate, not, or why?
I called the police on him during the first incident, the first couple of incidents, and then 2 times when we drove by with this car, made contact with me in front of my home.
And what do you do at that point?
Well, when he got when 911 was dialed by one of the bystanders, that's when he got angry, sped down the road, lost control of his vehicle, went into one of the neighbors' yards, restarted it back up after he stalled it. It went into another neighbor's yard, and then he drove up the side the 15-foot right away. And it was my belief he was going to strike me with his vehicle.
When did that happen?
That was the very last incident that I had read off on the paperwork right there.
I know, but what was that, before or after the order was entered?
That was before the order was entered. Yeah. Since the order has been entered, I've only I only called the police once on him, and that's he drove by on his motorcycle and revved his engine really hard. It was relatively harmless, other than documenting it for court purposes. I called the police so that I had a record. We looked at the video. The police looked at the video. It was indeterminate if it was Mr. Vernum, but his bike does have a unique note to it, and he most certainly is not telling the truth when he said he does not ride his motorcycle. In fact, one of my neighbors, just before he got restationed in Indiana, had seen him pulling into his parking lot on his motorcycle. So Mr. Vernum is not exactly telling the truth. He does occasionally ride his motorcycle.
I'll allow you to respond to that.
Your Honor, I haven't rode my bike since they found me almost dead in my house in 12/21. I blew the shoulder out on 6 when somebody hit me on my bike, and it looked like they were going to total me out. So I stood up on my stirrup and I put my body between the car and my bike, and my shoulder took it. I can't do much more than this with my arm. I ride my bike to the gas station periodically to put fuel in it. That night, the sheriff called me on January 20th or the 22nd, a little after 9, and started asking me if I was riding my bike. I said, no, deputy, but you can come over here and touch my bike and see if it's cold or hot. He never showed up. This guy tried shooting me with his gun, Your Honor. And now he's trying to say that I'm the one that threatened him with a gun. I would never threaten anybody with a gun. And I'll tell you how. In 1990, on March 26th, my kid's mother got tied up with a felon. He talked her into kicking me out for molesting my children and sexual abuse to her. 2 weeks later, I was given my kids back. I won custody of them January 8th, and they were kidnapped by their mother and this man. My boy was dumped off on the street, and my daughter was taken. We didn't see her for 3.5 months. I raised my kids. 10 years, 8 months later, my daughter was butchered down the road from the house, stabbed 19 times. It was horrifying. And my son killed himself shortly after that because the mother was not allowed to go to the funeral, and she never went to his. Now, I've had problems, but I'm not a psycho. I don't bother people, and I think my letters my neighbors gave you will instigate that, tell you that. I don't bother nobody. We've had problems with speeders in our neighborhood for a long time. And when I drove the car down there on September 21st of 23, it was to get a license number. And he yelled out 4 times when he saw it was me, "How are your dead children?" That's why I drove up on those neighbors' lawn, because I was puking in a Walmart bag because he said that. And I went home, and I've never been back to that part of the neighborhood since. I don't go visit any of my friends. I stay on my end of the neighborhood. This guy's trying to keep me in trouble. I know what restraining orders are and what they do.
Okay. You're not in trouble. You said that there was a cross you're not able to visit. Where is it? You said, I thought I heard you say there was a cross that you're not able to visit.
Yeah, the kids put cross up for where my daughter was butchered, and then they put my son's name.
Where is that?
Well, when you go where my street is,
Okay.
9th Way.
No, let's assume for the moment I'm not familiar with the neighborhood.
It's a quarter mile away from his house.
Okay. So, Mr. Blacksmith, are you aware of this cross? Do you know what he's talking about?
I am, Your Honor, and in fact, the cross is not on the same street that I'm at.
Okay. So hang on just a minute, just a minute. Can he visit this cross without violating the order as it stands now?
Yes.
Absolutely, Your Honor, he can.
Yeah.
But people that have orders like he has on me, if he would have been driving out of the other entrance of the neighborhood, he would have been calling you people.
Okay.
This is what I want to prevent.
Okay.
I don't want to die right now.
So, okay. Mr. Vernum, here's going to be my ruling in this case. Okay. So I've heard you speak. I've listened to your testimony. I've read what you reviewed, which was apparently pertinent to the original order that was entered. That order was entered. The only thing in front of me here today is whether or not this order is going to be extended for another year. And based on everything I've heard, the testimony, I'm going to grant the order. I'm going to grant the request. It's going to be ordered for, it's going to continue for another year.
Well,
Now,
then
let
you
me-
might as well throw me in jail right now because I'm not gonna go another year of this kind of stuff.
Okay, so hang on just a minute. I'm not going to throw you in jail right now.
No,
It-
I'll drive by his house when I go home.
Okay, so
I'm not putting up with this no more, Your Honor. Judge Buckley says I have the right
Right.
to express my First Amendment right, and that's what I'm doing.
you do.
I don't have no signs with his name on it.
Okay.
None.
Okay.
I haven't been to that part of the neighborhood at all.
So if you want a copy of the renewal order, you can have it, but that'll conclude the hearing for today, or you can
So
get a
you're
copy
gonna
of it.
do this to me again.
I didn't do it. I'm not doing anything.
What did
to you.
I do wrong? I haven't visited this guy. I don't have a cell phone. I don't even know his number.
Okay.
Why are you doing this to me again?
Okay.
I have to go in for an operation and now I'm gonna cancel it today when I go home.
Okay, well, I don't think you should need to do that or should
Well,
want to do
I'm not
that.
gonna live this way anymore.
Okay, well,
So
you know,
call your deputies and have them follow me home because I'm going to his house. This is wrong, Judge.
okay,
Judge Buckley wouldn't have done this to me.
okay. You can take that if you want it and you're free to go.
Your Honor, is there
You're free to
something
leave
I
the
should
Zoom
do?
call. What's that?
Is there something I should be doing if he's gonna show up at my door?
I'm not gonna, I'm not really in position to give you advice. You asked me to extend the order, I did, and then, you saw his reaction. And, we'll see where we're at. But I can't
I understand, Your Honor. I understand.
I can't give you advice.
I'm just frustrated. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're free to leave the Zoom call.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you.
The free speech defense didn't quite hit the mark. With the protection order renewed for another year, it seems the signs and threats were a little more than just harmless expressions. What do you think? Did the judge make the right call? Or will this neighborhood feud continue to escalate? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more gripping courtroom moments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.